important for me to have mentors while I was writing the book. My good friend Bhagavad and the rest of the team members, but especially Bhagavat was very helpful in encouraging me, because the process of writing, as I've mentioned before, means being vulnerable, talking about yourself. I find in the process of writing there's a lot of self-doubt. I've heard that from other authors also who write and they say, there's a critic on the shoulder that says, you don't know how to write. What are you doing writing a book? You don't know anything, and so forth. So having mentorship and also friends who encourage and say, no, say it. And then getting feedback from people is very, very helpful. Also having a schedule. I read a book called The War of Art, and it's by Stephen Pressfield, and in it he talks about resistance. It's the strongest force in the universe. And when it comes to creative processes, and especially writing, there's a force that pushes on you and says, no, go do something else. Don't sit here and write. And he mentions a process by which he overcomes that resistance, which is to be a professional, which means you log in every day and you start writing a certain amount of time. So it helped me in the process to have a team around me, and we'd meet regularly twice a week to review the progress that's been made. And that forced me to some degree to stay on a schedule and continue writing, because I had to give something. And the best advice I got was from Chaitanya Charan, who's a prolific writer, an excellent writer and great thinker. And so I asked him about writing books once, and he said, you can always edit a bad page, but you can never edit a blank page. That really inspired me, because, hey, I got plenty of bad pages. I'll keep producing them because it can always be fixed. And what I find is that out of the massive words and thought processes, when I get really frustrated and I say, I'm not saying anything worthwhile, sometimes I'll just break down and say, just be real and say something from your heart. And when I do that, then the process starts to flow. And oftentimes out of pages and pages or chapters, I'll find one idea and say, that's it, that's real. Because it has to be real and genuine to be meaningful to the writer, to be able to continue the process. Otherwise, it just feels like torture. So getting into the flow of writing requires a lot of courage for me. But once I get in that space and I feel the flow of creativity coming, and it's not from me, it's from the good people I've been around and people I've listened to, but I'm just channeling that, then I feel it's worthwhile. And I'm actually rising to another level of consciousness. And when that happens, it feels worthwhile, and more than worthwhile. It feels like a pleasure to do it. But it takes a lot of work to get into that space, and it's all worth it.